my 35 years as a coach and healing artist, and in my own life, I've come to know that breaking through our limiting power, limiting restrictions of silence is the key to living a free and authentic life. Can you remember a time when you felt strongly about something but didn't speak out about it, and later realized how on the mark you actually were?
Yes.
And perhaps you can remember a time when you so badly wanted to break your silence, but you didn't speak because you couldn't find the words to speak into controversy, or perhaps to speak what was on your heart in a very vulnerable situation. Trust me, we've all been there. At one time or another, we've all made the decision, whether conscious or unconscious, to stay silent. But now imagine the opposite. Imagine having the freedom of expression, to have access to your unshakable confidence at moments in your life that you could make an impact that you desire, that you can make an impact that only you could contribute. Well, today is going to be about how we can continue moving in our lives from silence to sovereignty. And to do that, we're also going to explore your inner landscape. So first, I'd like to invite us to breathe together, because we're not just taking this information in through our minds, we're taking it in at the cellular level through our bodies. So I'm going to invite you now to take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale. Ah. You can even make a sound on the out breath. That really helps us open. Let's take another breath in together. Ah. Now, turn your focus inside and gently close your eyes. And call into your memory a time when you really wanted to speak out but hesitated to. Now, connect to this memory with kindness, because it wasn't your fault. Your silence was the best you could do at the time. So without judgment, hold this situation in your heart and then reflect. What was the contribution that you alone could have made that would have made a difference? In this way, you are honoring yourself and honoring what your truth was inside, even if it couldn't be spoken out loud. So I'd like to invite you to come back to the room now, and I'm going to tell you about a time when I felt hopelessly trapped in silence, with no way out. I was standing at the door of the restaurant where I was working, and my body felt completely frozen. I was humiliated. I had just been fired. Actually, the restaurant manager really liked me. He had given me 3 chances to prove and to do what he wanted me to do. Simply to walk up to a table and make friendly conversation with someone before taking their order. But I just couldn't do it. I was so anxious that no words came. I felt hopelessly trapped in silence and shame. Actually, the tendency to stay quiet is often inherited. We've been told for generations that we should just compromise ourselves, stay quiet, not make waves. So no wonder in our culture we often live with stress, unhappiness, even illness, when we can't express the truth that's inside us. So how did I end up transforming from the quiet waitress to an international retreat leader, coach, and performer? I did one thing that made all the difference. I broke the silence within myself first. I cleared away the obstacles that were not allowing me to access my true voice from within. So as I listened to all the parts of myself inside that needed to be expressed, it wasn't just my courage and strength. I listened to my anger, to my fear, to my terror. As I listened to all these parts speak to me, I began to dissolve the old and birth the new inside myself. And I was feeling more and more alive, more and more confident. And then something devastating happened. The partner I was with at the time betrayed my trust. Although he promised not to do that ever again, I was facing the fact that his treatment of me was becoming more and more careless, more and more disrespectful. But I was afraid. I was afraid to speak out, and I was afraid to lose the love and the security that we had had together. However, one night I returned home earlier than expected to my home, and I heard him having a conversation in another room. As I listened, I realized that he had never intended to change his conduct and that he never would change. As I stood there on the living room rug, I realized that I had reached my limit. This wasn't okay anymore. I felt all the meekness and weakness drain out of my body, and I felt infused with an energy of clarity and courage. As he emerged from the room, I said to him very calmly, I want you to know that I heard your entire conversation just now, and I now know that you've been deceiving me for a very long time. I walked out of that relationship and into my future knowing that I would be okay, knowing that I had broken my barrier of silence. And my life was never the same after that moment. But I want you to know I did not attain this in a day or even a year. It took me several years to break my barrier of silence. But now in my work, I help my clients break their silence in a fraction of that time. Like my client Joan, who overcame a cancer diagnosis and several major family crises to still claim her gift and become an award-winning painter. Or my client Sean, who made the decision to open up emotionally to his wife, thereby saving his marriage. I'd like to invite you into another inner exercise now. So close your eyes and take another refreshing breath. I'd like you to imagine a time in your life when you felt very alive, very expanded. First, recall it in your mind, and then allow yourself to feel it in your body. Allow yourself to feel the joy, the peace, whatever feeling was coming through for you in that moment. You are touching into your capacity for sovereignty. Memorize this feeling. You can return to this exercise at any time, and you can actually train your body to access these feelings of fierceness, liberation, joy, and return to them at any time in your life that you need to, no matter what else you're dealing with in your life. So I invite you to return to the room right now again. By doing this exercise, or exercises that you create, you can actually learn about the signals your body is sending you. You can learn to recognize, am I being present to myself, or am I disappearing from myself? You are the instrument. You have the capacity to create any transformation in your life that you desire. Listen to these amazing words of Martha Graham, the famous dancer. There is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium, and it will be lost. The world will not have it. As Martha says, you are the instrument. You can create whatever transformation in your life you desire. You can embrace more and more of your sovereignty, creating the life you want, recognizing your true worth with or without the approval of others, and offering service in your life in word, thought, and action. You can illuminate your life and the lives of others. So thank you for offering your heart and your presence to this experience. And to close, I'd like to ask everyone to stand and just connect some people around you. I'm going to have you ask a question from the poet Mary Oliver to one another. And I'm going to do it in two parts. So I'll repeat the first part. You can ask each other, and then the second. Ready? What is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Thank you so much.